Hey, everyone. That final 10 seconds kind of snuck up on me. I'm sorry. I was paying attention to everyone in the chat room. Looked over and realized, hey, we're 10 seconds away. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if you guys can hear can you hear me? One, make sure you can hear me. I haven't set any of this up since April. I think April was the last live stream we did. So it was all setting it up fresh today. So I hope you can all hear me just fine. My testing seems like it worked. Thanks, Dave. I appreciate that. Yeah, I was going to say, if you can hear the farmer's market out there, every Tuesday and Saturday, there's a big farmer's market. It goes all the way around the square. They have live music, all kinds of stuff is going on out there. So if you do catch music in the background, it's probably them. Or it might be the construction that they're doing on the old courthouse right across the street from here. So about 150 feet from where I'm standing, they're doing all kinds of tear down on the old courthouse. So you might hear that too. Oh, by the way, hey, Brett, Bob, nice to see you guys in there. By the way, if you have a traveling companion coming out with you to Macstock, there is a farmer's market taking place that Saturday, the 23rd. So, be sure to send them over to Woodstock. The farmer's market goes from 7 a.m. I think it's 7 a.m. It's way too early for me. 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. But then after that, there's all the great stores around the square that they would love to browse. There's lots of great restaurants. There's a movie theater. There's all kinds of fantastic stuff to do in the square here on a Saturday. So if you have somebody traveling with you, Saturday's the day that they would want to come to Woodstock. That's when most everything is open. Sunday, some stores are open, some stores are closed. It's a little hit or miss. So if they want to catch everything that's going on, come out Saturday. Awesome to see. Awesome to see all you guys. Oh yeah, Dave said thank you. Dave is my shill today. Dave said including anime and things, which is of course my wife's store. Thank you, Dave. If you have any questions, I'm going to try to keep an eye on the chat room. Look for anyone who is prefacing their comment with a Q or a question or something like that. And I'm sure some of the others of you will help. Oh, I should probably close my mail. I don't need that popping up while I'm talking to you guys. I'm sure others of you will keep an eye on that too for me and help me catch anything that I might miss. So what are we going to cover today? We're going to talk about this self-assessment thing that I came up with. What to expect when you arrive at Macstock. Talk a little bit about the Macstock Volunteers and the volunteer situation this year. Getting to Macstock, and then something fun that a couple Macstock attendees have planned for After Macstock. I'll be mentioning that and how you can get a hold of them and let them know if you'd like to participate in that. A couple important links to know. I would like to talk about the weather, but the 10-day weather forecast doesn't quite go to the 23rd and 24th, but we'll look at that anyway, and I'll show you where to go and check that out. And then, of course, if you have any last-minute questions about Macstock. There's a fantastic group of folks here. Some of the best of the Macstock community are joining us today. So many of them will be able to answer questions for you too, because almost all of them, I believe all of them that I've seen go by so far, have been to Macstock before. So if you haven't, check in with them and they might be able to answer your question as well. Okay, first, a reminder, just in case you didn't know. I see Martine has said 9 days or so. It's 10 days and so many hours. I'm not sure how many hours. But just in case you forgot, Macstock is taking place July 23rd and 24th at the Luke Conference Center. That's the same conference center we've held Macstock all 5 years previous. That is at McHenry County College in Crystal Lake, Illinois. If you've been to Macstock before, you know exactly where it is. You know what to do when you get there. Check-in will begin at 8, and we're going to wrap up each day at 5. As I mentioned in the last live stream, that's new this year. I was really thinking we were going to go to 6, but they informed me that we had to be out by 6. So that means we have to wrap by 5 so that we can get everything bundled up and out of there, or what is going to get out of there for the night before 6 o'clock when they kick us out. There's something else I wanted to mention up front here. I mentioned this in a previous newsletter, possibly a live stream too. it was reminded, a very, very good friend of me, very, very good friend of mine, reminded me of this last night, and it was suggested that I reiterate this today. But if you didn't already know this, Macstock this year is going to be a little different. We already had a self-imposed attendance cap of 125. Plus now, the last couple of weeks, we've had a number of cancellations. They're all behind us now. So Macstock is going to be decidedly smaller than recent years. Now, I think there's actually a lot of positives to that. And I really feel that there's a lot to be said for that more intimate experience that we're in store for at Macstock VI this year. There's certainly a lot more opportunities for interacting with this year's presenters. And there's certainly a lot more opportunity for networking. Not only connecting with those you already know, but for connecting with new folks, people you've never met before, or people you've never had the opportunity to meet before. It's going to be a lot easier to do so this year with a smaller attendance. If you've ever been to a big conference with hundreds, if not thousands of people, it's not uncommon, and I know I've done this, I'm guilty of this. It's not uncommon to seek out those familiar faces, people you already know, and kind of hang out with them for the weekend. But I kind of feel that when Macstock VI comes to an end this year, we're all going to be leaving the weekend feeling like we really got to meet new people, you know? And I really think, like in years past, but this year maybe more so, we're going to make new friendships that are not only going to last days or weeks or months, but years to come. These are going to be people that you do seek out at future Macstocks and you do want to see again and again and again, while at the same time making new friends at future Macstocks. So I do think that being smaller, being more intimate, does have its advantages, and I hope that, well, okay, look. The truth is, the craziness of the past 2 or 3 years, I'm not sure that most attendees coming this year are expecting, here I wrote it down because I wanted to make sure I didn't forget this, it's kind of Harry Potter-esque. I'm not sure most people attending are going to expect it to be the Macstock that would have been. In other words, the Macstock of 2020 prior to the COVID craziness. But I really do feel that it's up to all of us, myself included, to make the most of the weekend. And I hope that those who are coming this year will do exactly that. UGU Online, and I'm sorry, I'm not quite sure who that is. Oh, is that Tom? Oh, that might be Tom. He says that CES 2022 was down to only 65,000 people. So, yeah, we're not going to have 65,000 people. All right, so that's it. I just wanted to mention that. It was something brought up to me again last night, and I thought it was important to just kind of to bring it up to everyone. And just a little reminder that it is going to be smaller, more intimate, and more personal than previous years. In fact, if you attended Macstock in 2015, it's going to be a lot closer to that than it is or was to Macstock, or will be to Macstock 2019. Okay, so there is a reason we're theming it rebuilding this year. And we are, in a sense, after 3 years, it's been 3 years since we last got together, we are really rebuilding this thing and starting it fresh. And that it's ironic that that is where we are, that we're very similar in scope and size to where we were in 2015. Troy is asking what are the current numbers, folks coming in person. I don't know how many of those are first timers. That's a really good question. I would have to go through the list one by one and see how many are first timers. as I glance down the list, it seems like a lot of um, uh, the, the core Macstock supporters are going to be there. Those are the folks who originally purchased the tickets when they went on sale for that Cyber Monday sale in, well, December 2019. Those are always the first folks to buy tickets. And then it wasn't too long after that that we had to suspend ticket sales and indeed suspend Macstock for a couple years. So really it's that initial core group of folks who are there year after year after year who bought the tickets initially. The numbers where we're at right at the moment, we are somewhere around 90 people. So we were capped at 125. We had as many as 115. We're down to around 90. There are still some folks I think maybe won't be there this year, but that's what I'm looking at. I would not be surprised to see it fluctuate. It might go up a little bit more. Yes, Marina says we are very friendly, and absolutely, I agree with that 100%, Marina. Troy, I know it's your first time. You originally booked 2 years ago. He says, before the world as we knew it ended. You're right. And you are exactly who I was addressing a moment ago. Do not hesitate to walk up to a group of folks, to walk up to anybody and join the conversation. You will make new friends. It is hard not to make new friends at Macstock. And I encourage you to reach out and just say hi. Just say hi and join those conversations. Martine says, I loved every year and I've been to them all. Thank you, Martine. And I know Marina's been to a lot. Dave, of course, has been to all of them. Steve says, good vibes. Thanks, guys. Oh, Brett says, speak for yourself. Okay, so Brett is not Troy. Avoid Brett. Brett Terpstra. Avoid Brett at all costs. No, I'm kidding. Brett is amazingly awesome, and you definitely should introduce yourself to him. Both Bretts, actually, that are in the chat room right now. Brett Kennedy and Brett Terpstra are both amazing people, and be sure to introduce yourself to them. Okay. Noted, says Troy. All right, so let's talk about this self-assessment thing. All right. Oh, see, I'm sorry, Steve. It shows up as good vibes on my screen. I didn't see the peace sign. And Brett does promise to be very nice. And he always is. He really always is. Okay, so this self-assessment thing. As you can imagine, I've had to look at what other small conferences are doing, what other big conferences are doing. And many of the small conferences are providing a simple tool, or were providing a simple tool, and they kind of still are in many cases, to help you assess if it's right to attend the conference you're about to attend. Look, COVID is making another resurgence in many parts of the country. So I was kind of looking for a way to provide a little guidance to people to kind of help you make a better decision if attending Macstock was the right thing to do for you. So now I do want to be clear. I put it in a big red box on the page, which you can see here. This is not a diagnosis tool. I'm not a doctor. If you want a medical diagnosis, go to your healthcare professional. Please do not take this as medical advice. However, it is a very simple step through that I want to take a moment to go through with you together. Nothing gets submitted. This is just a little guide to kind of help you go through everything. So I got to put on my glasses. Yeah, no, Dr. Mack is a doctor. Yeah, that's true, Warren. All right, let me bring old Safari to the front here so I can interact with it. It's not letting me interact with it. Well, that stinks. Oh, I know why. Here we go. I got to move that out of the way. Now, oh, look at that. Look at that. Now I can interact with it. What do you know? It's amazing when you move around this little clicky thing. Okay, Not intended to be a medical diagnosis. I probably spent more time on these lovely graphics than I did on the actual self-assessment. So step one, are you fully vaccinated? That's a requirement to attend, right? So are you fully vaccinated? It's one of the health and safety requirements that we have in place. If yes, go to step two. If no, do not attend. Step two, have you experienced any of the following? These came from the CDC. Fever or chills, cough, shortness of breath or difficulty breathing, fatigue, muscle body aches, blah, 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 all the way down. Or other symptoms commonly associated with COVID-19. That link right there takes you to the CDC site where they talk about that kind of stuff. As the CDC says, this does not include all possible symptoms, et cetera, et cetera. It's all there for you to read. Oh, there's a mistake there, isn't there? Have you experienced any of the following? Oh, no, there's not a mistake. Okay. Have you experienced, see, I'm confused by my own self-assessment here. If you have experienced any of the following, do not attend. If you have not, continue to step three. Have you tested positive within the past 14 days? Are you isolating? Are you quarantined? Or are you worried you may be sick with COVID? If so, do not attend. If no, continue to step four. Step four, in the last 2 weeks, have you been in close contact with someone who has COVID-19? CDC defines that as you have been in close contact if you've been less than 6 feet away from an infected person for a cumulative total of 15 minutes or more over a 24-hour period. If you have been, continue to step five, where it asks, were you tested for COVID-19 3 to 5 days after your exposure with that close contact? So it's a very simple walkthrough of a way to help determine if you can attend Macstock safely. That's all it is. Nothing gets collected. I'm not looking at this information. It's just a tool for you to use before you attend. So that is what the self-assessment is. And Steve says that he always has muscle and body aches. Yeah, I'm with you there, Steve. All right. Oh, Marina says I should add a question here. The question I should add is, are you carrying any devices with OS betas installed? You know what? That is a very good question, and probably should tread with caution if you are. Okay. So that's what that is. All right. So let's move on to what to expect when you arrive at Macstock. A lot of this is going to be in the newsletter I send out later this week, but I thought it'd be fun to go through on the live stream. I wasn't even sure I was going to do the live stream until Martine and Brett asked me to make this announcement of theirs. I thought, yeah, what the heck? Let's do a live stream and let's cover all this stuff instead. So thank you, Brett and Martine. So Macstock's registration table, as I mentioned a little while ago, opens for check-in at 8 a.m. on the 23rd and again at 8 a.m. on the 24th. We do not this year have the capability to get in early. And by early, I mean on Thursday. In previous years, I was able to drop off equipment on Thursday and have it waiting for us when we got there Saturday morning. That I learned yesterday we cannot do. So you will see myself and my wife and my dad and my daughter and Cindy and several other folks scrambling around trying to get everything set up before 8 o'clock. So wait until 8. And hopefully we'll be all set. I've already been going through, there's boxes and boxes of stuff to my right here in the entrance of my office. I'm trying to narrow down what I bring over. We always brought over more than we needed in past years. I'm trying to bring just what we need. So we're trying to keep it as lean as possible so that we can meet the requirements that the school put in place for us this year. But check-in should begin at 8. Now, I'm using one of those weasel words that tech folk like to use, should. Check-in should begin at 8. That's what we're aiming for. With a smaller attendance, it should go pretty smoothly. I mean, look, in 2019, we checked in, 230 people in that same time frame. I think we'll be good with the attendance that we have this time out. Our biggest constraint is that having to haul everything in that morning and get set up. So that's the only thing I'm a little concerned about that, but I think we'll be good. We'll be good. We'll be good. When you enter through the building doors, and I'll show you a little bit later the map of where to go in. But when you enter through the building doors, there's a short hallway that leads to the registration table. And that's where you're going to find our helpful volunteers who are ready to sign you in. Those volunteers, if you have not met them before, and we do have a new attendee in Troy, there at least in the chat room today. If you've not met him before, it's my wife, it's my daughter. My dad will probably be running around there somewhere too. It's a family affair. And Cindy Rotz will be there too. She is always incredibly helpful every year. And she's going to be really the main point of contact throughout most of the day at the registration table on Saturday and Sunday. So those are the folks that you're going to run into first. And then Brian Henson is there every year too. Brian's main job is to help make sure that our presenters are ready to go when their talk time arrives. So he has a completely different schedule from everybody else, but I'm sure he's going to be helping set up as well. So those are the main volunteers that you're going to see as you come in. And then of course, there's always some amazing folks in the Macstock community who are also pitching in to help as well. And it's so very much appreciated. All right. So remember to arrive with your masks already in place. We do have indoor mask requirement. That's these things. Now this one is specifically designed to fit tightly over the nose and under the chin, and it has a spot in here for an additional filter. So, something like that, something like an N95 mask. Really don't want gaiters or, handkerchiefs or whatever tied over, because they really don't seal and prevent the transmission of air particles like they should. But if you can stick with this, we'll have some extra medical type masks there, but you're probably going to be a heck of a lot more comfortable if you bring your own. And you know what? Let's face it, after 2+ years of this, we probably all have our favorite masks at this point. All right. Also, be ready to show your proof of vaccination. For that, we will accept an original vaccination record card, a photo of the front and back of your original vaccination record card, or, of course, we'll accept the digital vaccination card that you might find in, for example, your Apple Wallet. So those are the three that we generally accept. If you have questions or concerns about that, reach out to me and let me know. We are not recording any of the information. None of the information is being kept. So don't worry about that. It's just, it's one of those extra steps to help ensure that the community is safe over the weekend. And that's why we ask you to bring it. With the proof given, I showed these off last time. And if you recall, I cannot show you the green one because you're just going to see a brick wall behind it. But these are the wristbands that we purchased, so that after you've shown your proof of vaccination, you're going to be given a wristband. And there's 3 colors. There's red, there's yellow, and there's green, or brick. And these allow you to not only show that you confirmed your vaccination status, but also provide as a little social distancing guideline to the fellow attendees, the other folks around you. And it's a way to indicate your comfort level with in-person contact. So we have green, and these are embossed with, green says handshakes and hugs, yellow says caution, and red says social distancing. So in other words, stay away. Red is color-coded appropriately. But please follow these guides. and make sure that if someone is wearing red or if someone is wearing yellow, that you give them the space that they request. There are going to be many folks in attendance who would love to say hi, but maybe would prefer an air hug from a safe distance instead. So pay attention to those bands and honor them for everyone's safety and for everyone's, more importantly, for everyone's comfort, because that's what they're for. That's what they're for. Okay, so also at the registration desk, you get the fun stuff. You get your name badge, you get your lanyard, you get your t-shirt. Ooh, the t-shirt design this year, it's cool. It's cool. It's the first time we have had a 5-color t-shirt. So if you're coming, you're in for something special. I can't guarantee we're ever going to do a 5-color Macstock t-shirt again. In fact, I went into the screen printer a week ahead and I said, all right, here's what I've got. You can tell me to hit the bricks, or you can tell me you can do it. And he said he could do it. He can't do 6. So the most we can ever do is 5. And I think they're kind of cool, and they fit the theme rebuilding really well. So I'm excited for you folks to see them. I hope you like them as much as I do, and I hope I had a lot of fun making them. I always do. Every year I have a lot of fun coming up with the new t-shirt design, and this year was no different. Okay, so after registration, you can go ahead and use the commons area. If you've been to Macstock before, that's the kind of lunch area. They call that the commons. You can use that area to mingle, or you could go ahead and find yourself a seat in the conference hall. Now, we may still be setting up, but you are, of course, more than welcome to come in and join us and watch us fumble around setting up cameras and, and all that kind of stuff. Do note that we are going to have sections set aside for folks who indicated a preference for social distancing. Within those sections, we're going to kind of let you self-regulate. They have newly upholstered seats in the auditorium and weren't too keen on me running around sticking stickers on everything. So we're going to ask you to self-regulate, and that means within those sections, if you requested socially distanced seating, which most folks did not, but if you did, at least one row and at least 2 to 3 seats between your traveling party and the next traveling party. You know, the truth is, with the limited attendance this year, those socially distanced seating sections aside, there still should be plenty of room for folks to give themselves a little breathing room. And, you know, I encourage you to do so. Not only is it more comfortable, but it does help keep the community safe as well. Okay, I talked about the wristbands already. Jumped ahead of myself there. Brett needs a 6K shirt. Ain't gonna happen, Brett. Relaxation areas. Okay, so the school itself does not have a mask mandate in place. This is a Macstock policy, not a school policy. So what that means is you may go outside to remove your mask, or you may venture to a remote corner of the commons area in between talks if you need a little mask break, someplace, you know, set aside from other folks. But please remember that you should put your mask back in place as you approach registration, as you approach the lounge area. They have a little seating area there near the registration desk, and of course the main auditorium and the hallways immediately surrounding the main auditorium. The commons area, the other hallways of the school, outside, those are all safe to, you know, take a break, take your mask off, and you know, keep some distance from other folks if you need a little breather. One thing I should probably remind everyone is that the campus is a non-smoking campus. That's very common for schools. It is the case for McHenry County College. So I'm afraid if you do need to take a smoke break, you will have to either do it in your car or go off campus somewhere. But it is a non-smoking campus, and they do enforce it. So please respect that. Let's see. What is next? Ooh, volunteers. I talked a little bit about volunteers, but you know, throughout the weekend, you might find that you need a little help finding the restroom or finding your way to lunch, which is not that hard, but you might need help finding your way to lunch. Maybe you have some questions for around town, you know, restaurants to eat at, things like that, or just any other quick question that needs answering. That's what our volunteers are for. That's what they're there for. That's what my dad and my wife and my daughter, Dave mentioned Anime and Things. My wife and daughter are going to be leaving at some point in the morning and coming back in the afternoon so that they can go open the store, run the store for the day, and then come back again at the end of the day. But Cindy, my dad, Brian, myself, anyone else out there with one of these can't miss them t-shirts on, we'll be happy to help you. And if you are new to Macstock, if you've never been there before, anyone else in attendance can probably help you too, because they've all been there. We've all been to this conference center before, and everyone knows the score. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. But please don't hesitate to flag us down, to flag me down. Sometimes it's hard to flag me down, but please do. I want to see you. I want to talk to you. Sometimes I get a little, as my wife calls it, Macstock brain. But just please stop me. Mike, stop. I got a question. I want to say hi, whatever. Please do. I do want to note, though, we are, as you could probably tell from my listing them off, all by name, we are extremely short on volunteers this year. So I do ask for your patience as we try to help you. All of us are going to be doing our very best to get everything done as quickly and efficiently as possible, and we're doing our best to get you taken care of. We might be a little slower, we might be a little busy at some times, and we might need to take folks in the order that they come to us with questions. But please rest assured, if you have a question or you need help with something, or maybe you're looking to buy some Macstock swag, that t-shirt design is going to be on a mug again this year, Dave G. Dave has an awesome collection of Macstock mugs. Whatever it is, we are there to help you. So keep that in mind, even if we are a little short-staffed this year. Okay, getting to Macstock. I told you I was going to cover this. If you have a car, you're sharing a ride with someone, or you're using a ride, yes, mugs, Dave says, or using a ride-sharing service, Macstock is very easy to get to, and there's plenty of free parking. The Loop Conference Center, that is a picture of it right here over on the right. That's the entrance. You go in anyway. It's at McHenry County College. That's 8900 US Highway 14 in Crystal Lake. Technically, it's right on the border of Crystal Lake and Woodstock. So if you are staying in Crystal Lake or you're staying in Woodstock, you're going to find it on US 14 right about halfway between the two cities. US 14 is 4 lanes, which means that you have to, if you're coming from the east, actually, if you're coming from the west, either way, you're going to probably want to enter at College Entrance 1, which I do have on the map here. This is a Google map, so you can open it up bigger. And of course, you can look up the address on your phone as well for directions. But the Entrance 1 is this one here. The reason I suggest that one is because this is the parking for Macstock, and this is the entrance for the conference center. If you go in the other entrance, which you can, that's a stoplighted entrance. If you go into the other one, you have to go all the way around in order to get to the parking here. So if you enter at entrance 1, right here, you'll be able to get right to the parking right away. I'm glad Dave answered that. I did not know the answer to your question. Warren was asking if an Uber from the city is crazy expensive. I would imagine it is. Dave said yes, it is. Um, Hopefully someone can help you in the chat room there, Warren. I do have some links to services on the Macstock website, which I'll show you in just a little bit. But there is a taxi service that's based in Huntley, Illinois, which is right just south of where we're at. Route 47 Taxi and Transportation that always has had, I believe they still have, flat rate taxi service from O'Hare and Midway and other airports to the area. So you might want to check with them, and I'll show you where their information is. And then, of course, as Dave said, car rental might be better. You just kind of have to look at the situation for you and do what's best in your case. Okay. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and skip to Brett and Martine's After Macstock fun. So if you're sticking around town, and specifically Monday and Tuesday after Macstock, Martine and Brett Kennedy, not Brett Terpstra, remember, he's not friendly. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, Brett. Brett Kennedy and Martine are planning to stay in Chicago after Macstock weekend, and they're going to two different Cubs games at Wrigley Field on July 25th and July 26th. Now, they're actually going to be bleacher bums on those 2 days, and since the bleachers are open seating, everyone can sit together easily. So Brett and Martine have asked if I could mention it today so that if other participants of Macstock would like to go, they can all go together. So if someone is interested in reaching out and finding out more about it, you can reach out to Martine on Twitter at MacVader. V-A-D-E-R, just like Darth, MacVader. You know, I should probably mention, I've told Martine, I'm not speaking out of turn here, I told Martine this, with his Twitter profile pic and with the name MacVader, I was always a little concerned of who this Martine was. I wasn't like, oh man, this guy's coming all the way over here from Europe. Is he like Brett? Is he not friendly? I don't know. Oh my gosh, Martine is one of the friendliest people in the world. You'll love to meet him. If you have not met him before, absolutely reach out to him and say hi. He's from the Netherlands. Great guy, great guy. Completely flies in the face of his Twitter handle at MacVader. Okay. All right, some important links to know. COVID self-assessment, we already did. You will find that on the Macstock website under the conference menu down here at the bottom, COVID-19 self-assessment, that's where that is. The Macstock schedule is also there, Macstock schedule. We covered that in the last live stream, but the schedule of the talks and when everybody is on stage and what they are talking about is on the schedule page. If you would like to get to meet our speakers, it's also under the conference menu, Macstock 6 speakers. You're going to find that there. Oh, you know, I did not pull this up, but I would be remiss in not doing so. If you are interested in the road to Macstock, which is always amazing, Chuck Joanner puts together the Road to Macstock every year, which allows us to meet Macstock's presenters and get to know them a little bit better. So the most recent one is Dave Ginsburg. And just before, let's see, does he have them all here? Yeah, he does. Mike Schmitz was just before that. We got some more coming out in the next few days. And there's this guy too, was the first one who kicked off the Road to Macstock. But Mike Schmitz and Dave, both great guys. And if you don't know them already, you can learn a little bit more about them and about what they're going to be speaking about at Macstock on Chuck's Road to Macstock. And you're going to find that at macvoices.com. Location, we were just over there. We can do that again. This tells you the address of the conference center, has a little map, and you're going to find that under the location menu on the Macstock website. The various hotels in the area, their addresses are all here on the hotels tab. This is what I mentioned earlier for Warren. Under transportation on the location menu, there are links. None of these are reciprocal links. None of these are affiliate links. These are just various services in and around McHenry County that you may want to reach out to if you need that type of service. Taxi and limo services, Route 47 Taxi has always had some flat rates from the airport to the area. And then I also listed Ackman Limo, Carlson Limousine, Black Cab Taxi. Rideshare services are the same as everywhere, Lyft and Uber. And if you are interested in coming out by rail, there's some information on the Chicago Metro line, which you can pick up from many locations. And maybe this is something that Warren would be interested in, is taking Metro out from the city to Crystal Lake, or there's 2 stops in Crystal Lake, 1 in Woodstock, and then you could take a quick, short ride-sharing service drive over to the hotel or to the conference center, depending on when you come in. That may or may not work for you. It might work better to rent a car, but those are some ideas that other folks have taken advantage of in the past. And then, of course, Macstock Code of Conduct, we do have that on here. I'm not going to go through all that with you, but you'll find that under the Contact and Info menu. We have our Code of Conduct. We have the COVID-19 self-assessment again, health and safety, the health and safety protocols this year, et cetera, et cetera. So that's all under that menu. Warren, the event starts at, same as Saturday. So check-in is at 8 and it starts at 9 on Sunday. Okay. Weather, I'll have a link to this. Oh, let's close the ad. We don't need the ad. I'll have a link to this in the newsletter that comes out. Currently, the 10-day forecast only goes up through Thursday, the 21st, but you can see it's going to be a typical late July, early August in the Chicago area. In other words, hot, humid, muggy. Maybe it'll rain, maybe it won't. It might be dry. We don't know. It's Chicago weather. We just don't know. It's not like we can predict, like if you live in a tropical area. Yeah, it's going to rain. Well, we just don't know. But, and Dave can probably attest to that. Hey, John Braun. John says he did Metro in the past, or Metro in the past. It's not bad to connect to the airport. That's great. I took Metro into Chicago for many, many years from Crystal Lake. It's clean, it's efficient, and it's not too terribly expensive. In fact, they have weekend passes, so that might be something you want to look into. Okay. So that's the main things I wanted to cover today. You guys have had some questions as you have been, or as we've been going today. Are there any other questions I can try to answer for you? Greetings, John. The drive from Warren is asking about the drive from the city. The drive from the city can be, I don't know why I can't get them to click over to the main screen here. The drive from the city can be right around an hour or so. Depends on traffic. But it's a heck of a lot better than, let's say, Los Angeles traffic. I was talking to my cousin the other day. We were making some plans to meet up with them in the fall, and their short drive, as the crow flies, to work takes them approximately 2 hours one way every single day. 4 hours on the road they spend going just a few miles to work every day. Here, I commute from my home in Huntley to Woodstock. It's a 13 mile drive. Takes about 20 minutes. You would be coming in, as Dave G is saying there in the chat room, you'd be coming in on I-90, and that's pretty fast. It is a toll road. That's something to be aware of, but it would be pretty fast coming in. And Warren, you're absolutely right. It is a Sunday morning, so it shouldn't be too bad. So that is a good question. Let's see if I can. I don't know if I can bring this up here. There we go. Likely never. Likely never, Tom. I did start to grow one in the early days of COVID. In fact, I let my hair go. My hair's a little long right now, but I did start to go. And my overall impression of myself with a beard is I look evil. So probably more so with a goatee. You remember Spock in the original series? You know, evil Spock was always depicted with a goatee. I kind of have that evil Spock-like look when I have a goatee. Maybe my, yes, Brett's right. Maybe my, my dad grew a beard later in life, and you can see my dad with a beard at Macstock. That will let you know what I look like with one. But maybe I'll wait till I'm a little closer to his age to do so. Another 20 years or so. And you're right, Brett. Facial hair and long mask periods don't mix great anyway. Absolutely true. That can happen. John Braun says the last time he was out there, they ran into a long haul train, and it certainly took a while before it went away. That can happen. It's not terribly common. So that was an unfortunate thing that happened there. But it can happen. Freight trains. This is the Union Pacific Railway that owns the lines that Metro runs on out to Woodstock and Crystal Lake. Union Pacific, as all the freight lines do on the lines that the public transportation are on, have the right of way. So in the event that a freight train's needing to come through, the freight train's going to go through. And from what I understand, you don't want to argue with them. So, any other questions before we wrap up today? We are just about 10 days away from Macstock. It's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a fun time. Lots of great presenters. Did I miss any questions? I'm going to just kind of scroll back here a little bit and see if I missed anything. Dave G has been doing a good job. Dave is a good source for this kind of information. And I bet, tell me if I'm wrong, Dave, I'll bet if people sent you a message on Twitter at DaveG65, you'd be happy to answer some of their questions about commuting in and around the Chicago area. He lives much closer to Chicago and does commute throughout the Chicago area, whereas the Woodstock-Huntley area where I live and where Macstock is much further out. We're a far western suburb. So I don't run into a lot of that as much as, say, Dave does. And in fact, he just said he is happy to answer any questions that you might have about commuting in and around the area. So be sure to reach out to him at DaveG65. That's still correct, right, Dave? Jeff asked about Friday or Saturday after event activities. I know I mentioned this before. A good question, though. There aren't any official activities. A lot of that, and this this was my explanation for it back in February, and this is the explanation for it now. Um, it's really due to the health and safety protocols in place. I cannot extend what I've put in place at Macstock to the restaurants or other gathering locations outside of the Macstock Conference Center. And so I made a decision early on that I wasn't going to have any official evening activities. However, I do, like the baseball game, like the Cubs games on Monday and Tuesday, I do encourage you guys to get together, to make plans. And if any plans are made, if someone makes reservations at a restaurant or says, hey, there's a big meeting room at the hotel I'm staying at, let's meet there or whatever, and you let me know about it, I will tell folks from stage so that you can all get together that evening if you'd like to. There are going to be some people who do not want to get together, who do not want to be in those close confines of restaurants, or there are still folks who are not comfortable eating out at restaurants. So it's a tough situation to put people into, asking them or telling them about these activities, and then they don't want to go. And I don't want anyone to feel pressured to go. So that's kind of the reasoning why I'm not doing it this year. It's small consolation, I'm sure, but there are big plans for the next Macstock We Can Do Right. 2023, the next Macstock We Can Do Right, there are big plans for it. Everything you've loved and might miss from Macstock in years past, this year will be there next time. Like I said, small consolation for Macstock VI. We are rebuilding. Things are starting a little fresh. We are a little bit smaller, a little bit more intimate this year. But I'm so very thankful for everyone who is coming and for all the support you've shown to me and Macstock over the past few years. It really means the world to me. And I'm thrilled that all of you are coming. Marina is asking if there are info on restaurants that are offering good outdoor seating. There are some great restaurants that offer good outdoor seating, and I asked Janet earlier today about possibly reaching out to one or two of them that I know have outdoor seating and see if we can reserve the space. First and foremost, though, I had to wrap up the catering for Macstock. And that came in last night. I actually printed it out. Woo, good old-fashioned paper here. But I actually printed it out, and while we haven't made the final food selections, Liz, who is handling this for us, has put together some fantastic menus. I'm excited about picking. We get to pick 3 entrees, 3 sides, and a dessert for each day. And look, lemon bars, brownies. Oh, I guess I should focus on the entrees too. No, there's some really good entrees, some really good sides. I think everyone's going to be really happy with this. All the, for anything that's a sandwich, all the bread is gluten-free. I made sure of that when I worked with her on this. All the sauces are going to be on the side. All the dressings are going to be on the side, so everyone can sauce or dress their food to meet their dietary requirements. She has said that we're going to have little chalkboard signs so that we can label all the different foods so everyone knows exactly what they're getting. It's going to be a good lunch. It's not, as I mentioned early on, MCC is not able to cater this year. They don't have the staffing for it. So we had to find outside catering for the first time. It was always required that we use the catering at the school in past years. And for the first time we're using outside catering. I know these folks, and I've worked with them professionally for several years. Truth be told, they're a client of mine. They do good stuff, good food. I think everyone's going to be happy with that. So Brett says that the Weather Channel has a forecast that covers the dates for Macstock. Saturday, 89, 67 in the evening, thunderstorms, of course. Hey, we still have Macstock umbrellas, so maybe I'll bring some of those. And then Sunday, 88, 66 for the low, mostly sunny. Thanks, Brett. That's awesome. Let's see, Brett. Okay. John Brown has mentioned that the restaurant next to the Hampton Inn does a fine job and has nice outdoor seating. That's true. And Public House in Woodstock, Brett is mentioning, that has outdoor seating. And I know Porky's Pig Roast in Woodstock has outdoor seating or an outdoor patio area as well. And since you mentioned them, Public House and Porky's are two places I was looking at possibly reserving the outdoor seating. So I'll know that within a day or two, and I'll try to get that out in the newsletter if I can at least set aside some place for you guys so that you have a common area to go to. But that is that. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Tom. I appreciate that. And Brett's right. Public House, if you are looking for an evening out, if you're looking for a place to get a nice dinner, Public House is great. They're in the Woodstock Square. They're in the old courthouse. And they have a fantastic bar in there. And the reason I mentioned the bar is not for the reasons you'd think. I mentioned the bar because it was featured in Groundhog Day, the movie. And there are several things around the square that were featured in the movie Groundhog Day because this is where it was filmed. So, if you have never been in the Woodstock Square before, if you like the movie Groundhog Day, pick up, I'll try to have some of the little maps at Macstock that show the filming locations from around the square. And if you didn't know this, when Jeep filmed their commercial that reenacted some of the scenes from Groundhog Day, they did that here as well. I could watch them filming from my office window. It was pretty awesome. So yeah, the Woodstock is well known for being the filming location of Groundhog Day. And Public House was featured in the Jeep commercial, and the bar area was in the movie. Let's see, any other? No, no, John, I'm sorry, there are no Macstock helicopters this year. I will get back to you on that, maybe by Macstock 20. We'll see. We'll see. By then, we'll all have personal flying transportation pods. It may be a moot point. All right. Well, that is it. I appreciate everyone. If you have any other questions, please reach out. That's what I'm here for. Send me an email, mike@macstockconferenceandexpo.com, or use the contact form on the Macstock website. As I said, we're 10 days. I'm super excited to see everyone. You guys who are coming this year truly are the folks who have kept Macstock going the past 2 or 3 years. I thank you so very much for bearing with me. We're almost there. We're almost there. 10 days. And I thank you so very much for putting your trust in me through all this. I will say it again and again. Your support, your love for Macstock truly means the world to me. It means the world to my family. It means the world to the volunteers and presenters. And it means the world to the Macstock community itself. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We'll see you in a few days. We'll see you in just over a week. Take care. Stay safe. And be kind to one another. I'll keep an eye on the chat room. If there are any more questions, I'll try to answer them before I sign off. Otherwise, we'll see you soon. Thanks, guys.